In March 2019, archaeologists in Egypt began digging up an ancient burial site where early pharaohs were buried under tombs and pyramids that kept their bodies hidden from public view while dynasties rose and fell. They found something that was amazing. Hey everyone, and welcome to our channel. In this video, we will discuss an incredible discovery that Egypt's archaeologists found: a 4,400-year-old tomb with perfectly preserved paintings. Since the 19th century, groups of excavators have scoured the ruins of Saqqara in search of relics from the area's fascinating past. During Egypt's first dynasty, the earliest nobles were buried here, meaning thousands of years of history are buried beneath the rocky, dry ground. Today we remember famous landmarks like the Pyramids of Giza and the Great Sphinx. Still, even these priceless treasures don't reveal that the Egyptian kingdom once covered much of the Nile Valley. It was the most influential civilization in the Mediterranean for nearly 3,000 years. Around 3100 BC, Egypt's first pharaoh came to the throne, starting the first dynasty for 30 centuries and then a series of further dynasties, when the region ultimately became part of the Roman Empire. While the kings of ancient Egypt eventually faded away, their impact on the area can still be seen today. In fact, from the earliest dynasties onwards, the pharaohs showcased their vast wealth by building ornate and elaborate tombs. Even now, we're discovering monuments to rulers who died thousands of years ago. As previously mentioned, Saqqara proved to be rich in treasures. The first kings to be buried at Saqqara were members of the second dynasty, laid to rest in galleries beneath the ground. Today, the Saqqara graveyard is more than 4 miles long and almost a mile across, and curious explorers have been delving into its tunics since the 19th century. The most famous structure at Saqqara is the Pyramid of Chose, which marks the final resting place of the third dynasty ruler of the same name. The pyramid is thought to date from the 27th century BC, making it the world's oldest intact stone building complex. While much of the Djoser pyramid complex was excavated during the 19th century, many of Saqqara's secrets remained buried until recent times, including 4 years. For example, archaeologists at Saqqara found an incredible find: a rare burial mask crafted from gilded silver. 4 months later, another startling discovery was made at the location. This time, researchers found 7 tombs buried beneath the graveyard, each filled with the mummified remains of cats. But that was far from the last of the Saqqara discoveries. In December 2018, Egyptian officials announced that another tomb had been found. On April 13, 2019, Egyptian officials made a stunning announcement. An expedition led by Muhammad Maid from the Czech Institute of Archaeology had been excavating a site near the Saqqara necropolis and had found several fascinating tombs. The burial chambers located at this location are thought to date from the 5th dynasty, which began more than 4,000 years ago with Pharaoh Ushurkov. Egyptian Antiquities Minister Khaled Al-Anani announced that another tomb had been discovered in March 2019, and it seems archaeologists had found something truly incredible inside the space. This tomb was also apparent from the 5th dynasty, with experts dating it at more than 4,000 years old. But despite the structure's great age, its interior was incredibly well preserved. The paintings on the walls were fresh and vibrant. According to Al-Anani, the north wall of the building was inspired by the pyramids of the 5th dynasty. This suggests that the person who lived there may have been someone of great importance. The tomb's entrance was also built in the shape of a tunnel, another characteristic of pharaohs' graves. In the late 25th or mid-24th century BC, a king named Djedkar is thought to have ruled ancient Egypt for 44 years or more. Historians believe Djedkar broke tradition by not building a temple for the sun god Ra. The monarch is also thought to have sent missions to Sinai in search of precious metals and goods, and the ancient Egyptians began to expand into the nearby land of Canaan during his reign. Some people think that Kawi, the official whose tomb was found nearby, may have been close to the pharaoh. Some people believe there may have been a family connection between the two. Some people also believe that the lavish decor of Khoui's tomb is evidence of the reforms that Djedkar put in place. However, experts hope that discovering Khoui's burial place will help them figure out their relationship. Along with the elaborate paintings, archaeologists found pieces of urns called canopic jars. These jars were thought to be used to store a body's organs after embalming them. Regardless of what may yet be revealed, the burial site has received much international attention, and on April 13, 2019, Al-Anani welcomed more than 54 ambassadors to the site. The government is praising several discoveries in the hope that they will bring tourists back to the country. In 2010, Egypt welcomed over 14 million tourists, many of whom may have been attracted by the country's historic sites. At first, it was thought that the number of tourists coming to the country would increase, with as many as 16 million people expected to visit Egypt in 2011. But fate had other plans. On January 25, 2011, protests against the Egyptian government began. Frustrated by an increasingly violent and corrupt government, many young people joined to start social unrest that lasted more than 2 weeks. The New York Times says that 1 million tourists gave up their vacations in just a few days and left the country. Also, even though President Mubarak stepped down on February 11, 2011, political unrest continued for several years. As a result, Egypt had low visitor numbers before the revolution, and it's thought that tourism accounted for about 10% of the country's jobs afterward, even though the industry was losing about $1 billion a month. The situation worsened after the crash of a Russian Airbus A321 in Egypt in 2015. Tourists started returning to Egypt in 2017, and more than 11 million people visited the country in 2018. Now that the tourism industry is recovering, officials want to get the number of visitors back to what it was before the revolution. Luckily for those who want to improve tourism in Egypt, recent years have seen many historical finds in the area. That's it for today. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to share and press the bell icon for more regular updates.